Okay.
All right, welcome everyone. My name is Sophia Payne, for those who don't know me, and my co-teacher tonight is, and she's right below me, Lindsay Smith. I wanted to call you in Wethington. That's her maiden name. We were college roommates, so, living it up. Okay, so we're going to be talking tonight about gut health, and Lindsay's going to kind of touch on the purpose of that, but just to kind of get us started and comfortable and everything, I would love if you guys would use the chat feature. Hannah just used it and said, hey, I'm going to come in and hit hi. But if you guys can let me know what it was that made you want to come to class tonight, that would be awesome. Love to hear it from you guys. Everyone can participate, and I'll stare you down until you don't. That's my signature move. Until you do. It's not until you don't. That's weird. Okay. While you guys are thinking about what it was that made you come to class, and everyone's going to comment what it was that made them come to class, right? Yes. I am going to ask a few questions, and you guys can give me a thumbs up. No pressure. You can give me a thumbs up, or there's like little reaction buttons at the bottom of your screen. You can give me, clapping or whatever. So if anyone in here has experienced this in the last 7 days, give me a reaction, okay? Bloat. Anybody in the last 7 days? Okay. Brain fog. Anything, okay. Lack of motivation. Yep. Weight gain in the last 7 days. That one's kind of a hard one to admit, but this is a safe space, guys. It's okay. Unexplainable irritability. So maybe not like, your husband pushed your last buttons moment. That's explainable. But like I dropped a pen and I lost my mind. That's kind of unexplainable. And then acne. Any reactions to acne in the last 7 days? I feel like the maskne is really bad. Like it's so annoying. Okay, so we are hearing from some people, leaky gut. I've heard the gut is related to so many things. And I want to learn more about those things. I have autoimmune issues I want to learn about. The guy relates, the gut related. Gut health has been a thing I've been thinking about this year for sure. Really interested in gut health for my immune health. Skin issues. Yep, skin is a really good indicator. And then Angela reacted yes to everything. Okay, so Lindsay is going to get us started with what the purpose of this class is going to be.
Okay, so gut health is kind of a buzzword. A lot of people like throw it around. We hear it a lot, but we don't necessarily always know what that even means. And Sophie's going to go more into that. But the majority of Americans are dealing with health issues on a daily basis that are the direct result of the health of their gut. And they don't even know it. And I'm one of those people, I totally struggle with this. And Sophie and Peggy and I were literally talking about my gut issues before this class. But anyway, but this class is going to teach you what your gut is, what it does, how to make it work for you instead of against you. So this is one of my favorite classes. I really love this. It's so applicable. And there's so many things we just don't even know. We're not taught about gut health. So Sophie's going to break it down for us. Tell us about our gut.
Okay, so what is our gut? I'm going to show you guys a visual in just a second. It's not gross, I promise. But the gastrointestinal tract is what we're technically talking about when we refer to the gut. Okay, so if anybody ever says gut health or whatever, they're talking about that gastrointestinal tract. What is that? That is your mouth, esophagus, stomach, pancreas, liver, gallbladder, small intestine, colon, and rectum. For those of us who do not remember our anatomy class at all, which I didn't even take an official one, it was like a little section of my science class. I'm going to show you guys a little picture here. Actually, I don't know if I can share my screen. I just realized. Let's see if I can. I can. Nope, can't. Okay, I'm going to talk about something else while Mom makes it to where I can share my screen. But that entire system, your gut, when people talk about your immune system and, you know, helping it with that, your gut is what your immune system is built into. Okay, so when you're helping your gut, you're building your immune system. So you want to make sure that when people say things, oh, I can now. When people say things about, like, you know, build your immune system and that kind of stuff, that this is what they are referring to helping. Okay, so this is our gut, all that you're looking at right here. Okay, does everybody see this? Everybody looking? Yep. Okay, great.
Yep.
Mainly what I'm going to be touching on and what Lindsay's going to be touching on tonight is the liver, our large and small intestines, a little bit of the pancreas, gallbladder, and stomach areas. Okay, a lot of what we consume gets absorbed in the mouth, and that's a huge factor. But when it comes to like building up your immune system specifically, that's where like your large and small intestines come in, that kind of stuff. So it just pays to know what the actual heck people are talking about when they say things like your gut, because like Lindsay said, it's such a buzzword. And to me, I heard gut and went stomach, like that's what I assumed. But it's just so much more than that. And there's different reasons why they're like important, and not just in the like digestion of food, but in the absorption of that food, and the ability to keep your immune system high and that kind of thing. So that is the whole what is the gut part. Okay, Lindsay's going to talk about why it is. Well, I'm going to let Lindsay take this one because this one's just really cool.
So the gut is referred to as our second brain. So it affects our entire body. Which is why we were talking about it before this class, because I'm struggling with the skin issue, which is probably related to my gut issue. So sugar, alcohol, like all those things, when you have too much of that, you feel absolutely terrible the next day. So same thing. The gut is our second brain, so it affects everything. So these organs that Sophie talked about, all of the things related to the gut, filter everything that we consume. So if our body hates it, then it'll work overtime to get rid of it and be run down, overworked all the time. And then some of the effects of that are brain fog, irritability, lack of motivation, any other things that our brain affects. So it really truly does affect your entire body. And it is no fun when you're struggling with that on the daily basis. Like, and a lot of times we just think it's a normal thing. Like we're kind of told like, oh yeah, everybody feels that way. That's not normal. It's not, you're not supposed to have those issues. So yeah, Sophie, go ahead and hop in to the next one. Yes. I never know how to transition it. So awkward.
No, you're totally fine. You're totally fine. Yeah, so kind of going on to piggyback that, like our second brain. Oh my gosh, sorry, cat on the loose. But to piggyback the second brain thing, when our body is working overtime, it responds poorly. Like it doesn't want to be working overtime. It wants to be working the exact amount that it's supposed to be, where our bodies are built divinely in a certain way for very specific reasons. And when we do things that are harming it, it will tell us, okay? It might tell us in really annoying, frustrating ways, like skin issues, like brain fog, irritability, that kind of stuff, but it's dang going to communicate that. So what is happening? Filtering overload. Okay, Lindsay referred to the like drinking too much alcohol, having too much sugar, and just that like garbage feeling that you experience the next day. Well, when you have alcohol, toxins and chemicals, you have stress in your life, you have allergies, like all that combined, which they typically are all combined. Like it's rarely that it's like, I'm doing everything really well, I'm just stressed. Okay. You know, it's not typically isolated. Typically we're throwing a lot of things at it. What can happen is our bodies are supposed to, our large and small intestines are supposed to really just move things along. And that's kind of when the good bacteria in there is allowing our bodies to absorb what they're supposed to from our food. It just moves things along, starts compressing it, and then, you know, it discharges later. But what happens when we eat things that we're allergic to, that our bodies are too overloaded to properly filter. So we drink way too much alcohol, we eat way too much sugar, we eat something that we're allergic to, that kind of thing, then our large and small intestines will become what's called leaky gut. And very like long explanation short, essentially there's like, it'll shed the lining of your intestines. So there'll be kind of these gaps in between, you know, throughout. And what happens is the particles, our food particles, can kind of go into our body in areas it's not supposed to be in. And then our antibodies, you know, kick into gear. They come in and they're trying to get rid of these like foreign entities. And then all of a sudden we have this really annoying thing called inflammation. Okay, because they are just firing off, trying to get rid of these foreign objects. And it's really just incredibly dangerous for us. And fun fact, every disease that anybody can ever get starts with inflammation, every single one. And so when we have something very simple in our bodies that's just not being treated correctly, and therefore we have different things like leaking out of it, and that was referred to earlier, leaky gut, then we are literally every time we eat causing leaky gut, which causes inflammation. So it really does matter like what we put into our systems, and it matters that our bodies can handle it. So it's not just, yeah, I have like a little bit of bloat, you know, a bloated feeling when I eat dairy. It's actually, so my body can't process that at all. And then it gets really inflamed every single time, making me more susceptible to getting sick, making me more susceptible to getting skin issues, making me more susceptible to getting really heavy diseases that I really don't want to get. So it matters. Maybe you're not a dairy, like you don't need to get rid of dairy. That was just an example, but there you go. The other thing that we need to consider is that chemical toxic sludge, okay, that, you know, is just all over our bodies because we're constantly using chemicals. It is, okay, here's the math for you guys. Women put on approximately 100 chemicals every day before even eating breakfast, okay? And they put approximately 500 for the entirety of the day. Okay, so multiply that by 7, and wow, why did I not get it? I like did the full math, so anyway, multiply that by 7, that's a lot. Multiply that by 30, that's a lot. Multiply that by 365, yes, that's a lot. But multiply that by 60, and all of a sudden we see what 60 years from the age like 20 to 80, what 60 years of using 500 chemicals every single day can look like. And for this, we really don't want to do that math. That is 10,950,000, like in a lifetime. And we're wondering why, and I'm not allowed to say these words because they're not compliant, but we're wondering why the big C disease is so prevalent. We're wondering why, we're wondering why, you know, women are getting issues in their breastal region when it comes to diseases. We're wondering why things like PCOS are running rampant through our bodies and through our generations. Like, these are real issues that chemicals alone can be blamed for, let alone the, you know, leaky gut and everything like that. So you need to make sure that whatever you are using does not have chemicals in it. And we do have really great products that we're going to talk about in a little bit that are chemical free. So you don't have to use, you know, cleaner that has that. You don't have to use beauty care that has chemicals in it. You have options so you can take that number, that 10,950,000, and shrink it down to hopefully 0. Lindsay is going to talk about what those are.
Yes, so Young Living is kind of like a one-stop shop for so many things, which is why a lot of us really, one of the many reasons we love it. But we can address a lot of these issues just with Young Living. So one of the biggest and best products Young Living has is called Ningxia Red, which is this amazing little packet of goodness and all the wait, what am I saying?
Antioxidant. Yeah.
All the antioxidants, like so much. It helps cleanse the junk out of your gut. It helps feed healthy bacteria. It's actually a prebiotic because it feeds that healthy bacteria. So many vitamins, nutrients that we just don't get from our American diet. So again, supplement it it supplements the things that we don't have. This is so good. I can tell a huge difference when I don't take it every day. Just with energy, with like immune system, like it's just so good. So good for you. It's a cousin of the elderberry, so a lot of people know about how good elderberry is for you for your immune system. So it's very similar to that. And then we have a probiotic. We have two actually. An adult probiotic called Life 9. Mine's actually in the refrigerator right now, which tells you it's a really good probiotic because it has to be refrigerated because it has live bacteria in it, good bacteria. Um, it feeds the healthy bacteria. So that's what a probiotic does. And you want a good one. You want one that needs to be refrigerated. You can buy a lot of those elsewhere, but who knows what's in it. So Life 9, our probiotic has 17 billion active cultures. So that's a really high number compared to a lot of others. And then our kids version, which my husband loves, Mighty Pro. So it's actually like, it literally tastes like a pixie stick. I take these sometimes too when we're traveling, because it doesn't need to be refrigerated. It's made for kids, which why my husband likes it so much. But it tastes like a pixie stick. It's so good. So kids literally like want to eat a whole lot of these. They probably shouldn't, but it is prebiotic and probiotic. It feeds the healthy bacteria again, and goes in to lay the foundation for further growth. It is, again, kid friendly, travel friendly. This is a really nice product. We like to have both of them. Yeah, really like it. And then there's actually a couple other really awesome products for your gut. This one's called Alkaline. Um, really good for balancing your pH and just helping stomach issues. That's a really awesome product. And then we have oils for stomach issues too, digize and tummy jize. I prefer tummy jize as it smells really good. But yeah, those are really good, just supporting your gut. We want to work to prevent a lot of the issues so that you don't necessarily have those issues, but when you do feel bloated or don't feel well, have stomach issues, those are really good to have on hand. And then our thieves products, Sophie was talking about knocking out chemicals, because they're so harsh on our bodies and so damaging. We have, again, one-stop shop. We've got a whole chemical-free cleaning line. So we've got thieves. This is the all-purpose cleaner. So literally it's a concentrate. So you just use one capful in a 16-ounce spray bottle. And that's your multi-purpose cleaner for everything. And then we have another one of my favorites is the dish soap. That's so good. I use it like for dishes and my toilet and like stuff like that. So a lot of our products, you can use multiple different ways. There's so many recipes to change them, tweak them, make them more potent, less potent, like whatever. They're just really good. So yeah, that helps reduce that daily chemical count. There is, everything: hand soap, laundry soap, dishwasher detergent, literally everything. So again, that one-stop shop. All of my cleaning products, all of my supplements come from the same company, and I love that. And I order them, get my box delivered to my door. And then personal care products, which again, so many of those chemicals that get put on our bodies come from our personal care products. Like Sophie said, that high number, a lot of that is in our daily stuff, like our shampoo, our moisturizer, our makeup, our skincare, like all of that stuff can be really toxic. So we have our personal care products have oils, essential oils in them, and natural components that support the growth of healthy bacteria. So yeah, it's just so good for your overall body, not necessarily just for your skin, but it supports your whole body. The oils are so amazing and so supportive to your whole body. And this stuff, personal care products, everything, it works for your body, with your body, instead of fighting against it. So some things that it can help support is hair growth, skin issues, skin repair, acne, all those types of things. But again, like Sophie said before, a lot of that stuff should be addressed with your gut first, and then can be helped topically in other ways. I mean, there's things I use for acne, but the the root of my acne issue is probably a gut issue. So that's kind of where we balance the two. But we have options for supporting the root and the exterior effect or whatever effect too. Okay, so Sophie's going to talk about some other good stuff.
That was such a good way of putting it. Like, I love where you have something like Ningxia Red that's going on the inside and it's really helping things, it's helping that repair and, whatever. But we also have, like, for instance, an acne treatment cream, and it's like, that's topical. That helps when you have the actual acne going on. And it's a game of like figuring out, okay, what caused this? What's going on? How can I, tweak that instead of just the acne treatment? We're not going to fix the actual issue. We're just going to help this one blemish. It's just a really cool marriage of the two. Okay, so I'm going to talk about sleep, exercise, and food. So I am very sorry for your toes because I'm about to step on them real hard. But this is really good information. It's information that I started learning about a few years ago that has been a real big game changer for me. So here, with hopefully like grace-filled ears, what I'm saying, because I am not trying to come at anybody, but really just passionately share very important information for how your gut like handles certain things and how to best support your body so that you can thrive instead of just barely surviving. So I'm just going to start off with, we reap what we sow. Okay, we all know when we have eaten poorly, whatever that means to you. It's not necessarily the guilt the next day, because I really don't want us to have a guilt mindset with food, but just kind of the like run down and the like bloated and just the gross, even like after greasy food, you feel greasy. Does that make sense? So it's like we reaped what we sowed, It's nice because it like works on a good side too, like when we eat really well, like we get to reap what we sowed there. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is food. So there are a lot of sensitivities that people can have to food. And anytime that you are sensitive to something, the way that your body reacts to that is a form of inflammation. Okay. So what does inflammation have to do, or like, why should we care about inflammation? Well, because every disease starts with inflammation. So we really do need to care about that kind of thing. And when our body is inflamed, it's working overtime, and therefore, and we've just covered all this, right? Like, it all makes sense. It definitely clicks, whatever. But how the heck do you figure out what you're sensitive to? Okay. So if you eat something, and this is the result, one or all of these, then you're sensitive to it. Sorry. Okay. If you eat food and you have gas, you'll feel bloated. If you get a migraine, if you have acne, if you have abdominal pain, if you have mouth sores, like any or all or one or two or three like of those, that is your indicator that you are sensitive to something. Now, it gets a little bit complicated because if you eat like a full meal, how do you pinpoint what it was, whatever. And we'll kind of touch on the how to figure that out part later, but that can be your sign of like, oh shoot, like I'm gassy always. I'm sensitive to a lot of things. Like, okay, I got to figure that out. Like, whatever that is for you. Okay. Did that make you think of something? Did that make you think of, oh shoot, whenever I eat blank, this is how I feel. Like whenever I eat a donut, this is how I feel. Whenever I eat a hot dog, this is how I feel. Like whenever I eat cauliflower, this is how I feel. Like whatever it is, think that through. Typically beans for a lot of people can make them feel really gassy. Well, fun fact, a lot of Americans are sensitive to beans and we just don't know, okay? So I'm going to specifically talk about gluten because this is something I'm really passionate about and it's something I've learned a lot about. But no one should ever eat it. Sorry, ever. Like not a single person, not a single American is capable of handling it because we have genetically modified it. Even the organic, even the, the all the chemical free stuff. No, like, sorry, gluten is so overproduced, so screwed up in our society that even when we have clean gluten, our bodies have been so overloaded for, if it's been longer than 15 years, it's just been too much. So then it sees all gluten as the same, okay? So gluten is really, really damaging to our systems. The American version of gluten is really damaging to our systems. And it is one of the worst aggravators to cause like leaky gut. Okay, it's one of the worst. So that's not the right word, aggravators, but you know what I mean. Okay. So it is, in my personal opinion, and that is not a like I went to med school opinion, but in my personal opinion, I believe it's one of the root causes for things like obesity, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune diseases like Hashimoto's, things like that. Okay, those are some really big words, but I'm very much like, with everything that I've learned about it, with everything I know about it, for my personal, like I can't have it ever. I have some of the worst, most debilitating migraines from it. I have yet to meet a person who thrives after they've eaten gluten, yet to, let alone is like debilitated by their eating of gluten. Okay. So one bite. So if you're like the person who is like, you know what, for 30 days, I'm going to do Whole30, you know, something like that. And then like on day 31, you have a pizza. Sorry, you just wasted 30 days. Like you might as well have just been eating normal. Because the thing is, if you get rid of these things, 30 days is not enough time. It's a really good amount of time for you to find out what you're sensitive to, but it's not enough time to heal from the damage that some of these foods have caused. So maybe you are like, I can't have carbonated drinks, you know, like that really tears up my throat. I'm sensitive to it. I have a friend who's like that. Then like 30 days is going to show you, wow, my throat hasn't been in pain ever since I've stopped having carbonated drinks. But like on day 31, having a carbonated drink is not wise. Does that make sense? Like that's not how you should go about doing that. If you go without gluten, if you go without dairy, you know, whatever, you will have spent those 30 days or those 3 months or whatever, building all these building blocks in those intestines and building back that wall that's been shredded. Okay. And if you have one bite, that entire wall that you just built up gets obliterated. Like our bodies don't like what they don't like. And we have to learn to listen and respect that. So I am not coming at you. I promise. That's why I gave a little caveat. Like I'm just really passionate about this because this is something that with a little bit of time and a little bit of digging, we can actually change how our day-to-day lives, you know, what we experience in our each day. And so that's why I'm like, please just try it. Like just try to find out what you're sensitive to so that you can start preventing some of these issues that you're dealing with. Real quick, sleep and exercise. So sleep, get 8 hours of sleep at night. I'm saying it to myself. It's sometimes hard to get 8 hours of sleep, but give yourself 8 hours of sleep. Our bodies, experts say that our bodies need that shutdown time to relax and to heal from what we threw at it during the day. Okay, so like we literally need that. On top of that, Lindsay talked about Life9 and Mighty Pro. Those are 2 probiotics that we have that can be taken. Probiotics need an 8-hour time span to go through the system and to really be able to like clean up, feed that healthy bacteria, get rid of the bad bacteria, all that kind of stuff. So it is really important to get yourself that 8 hours of sleep. Exercise. So exercise actually plays a huge role in helping the filtering process. When we sweat, it actually helps us to detoxify. When we move, when we do a lot of movement, that is really good for our other major organs, i.e. the heart. And that feeds well into some of the organs in the gut and the gastrointestinal system. And then the extra movement can have a positive impact on increasing, fun fact, increasing healthy bacterial growth in the gut, okay, which is super important for us to be able to absorb the nutrients that we actually need. So when you eat that salad, it actually benefits you instead of just sliding right through and you don't even get anything from it. So sorry, that was a little bit of a long section, but I just really wanted to hone in on when you're sensitive to something, here's how your body reacts to that. And it's very important to learn what those things are and that 30 days is just not enough. That is very important to figure out your foundation, what you can eat and that kind of thing, but you cannot on day 31 go against what you just worked, what you worked to figure out, okay? So Lindsay is going to talk about our like starting steps because we want to make a lot of that information simple.
Yes. And if you're like, little overwhelmed, you're a little bit like, oh my gosh, I need to stop eating everything I ever eat. It's okay. Baby steps. Like this is doable, but also don't get overwhelmed. Just start making changes. And some of the steps to making changes. And let me tell you, I'm right there with you also. We literally talked about my own gut health issues right before this class. Keep that in mind. Um, but supplements will help so much. Sophie likes to say build to healthy. But supplements are so important. And like again, I can tell a huge difference when I take them versus when I don't take them. So man, all the vitamins that we're lacking, um, and again that probiotic prebiotic combo, like our bodies need that. And then another step would be changing out your chemical products. If you um, have 25 products underneath your sink in your kitchen, that's kind of scary. All of those ingredients in all of those products, like that is so toxic for your body, for your family, for your pets, for um children that lick the floor. Like it's just not good. And coming from somebody, I work in an environment that I have to use chemicals, I can tell a huge difference. It's really rough. It's really rough on my body and I don't like it. I feel terrible. And my body is detoxed from that because I've switched out all of my chemical products a while ago. And having to be exposed to that is really hard. Um, so and again, that can be a slow change. You don't necessarily have to toss all of your products and buy all new stuff. You can do it gradually. We have a monthly rewards program where I like to tell people that's the best way to go on a budget route, which I'm on a budget. We don't make $1 million all the time, so all the time ever. but but yeah, monthly, just kind of switching out things as I run out of products, things like that. Um, or you can just dump it all and get new products. So that'll work too. But figuring out, and step 3, figuring out what you're sensitive to. So using the Whole30 method of figuring out and getting rid of a bunch of stuff. I've never done Whole30, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know it's all like whole food. So you're not eating any processed food. So you're yeah, seeing what you're sensitive to because you're not eating that stuff. And then the autoimmune solution. I know Sophie and Peggy have done that. And that's one thing we've been talking about for a long time. That Yeah, I remember when Sophie did it. I think it was the first time you did it. I remember like you were saying how much better you felt and like it was ridiculous. And I was like, I need to do that. So those are just 2 options to figure out what you're sensitive to. And then step 4, figuring out what movement works for your schedule. So whether it's trying to get in 10,000 steps every day with your Fitbit challenges. My family and I, my mom on here and my husband and my aunt, we all do Fitbit challenges and it's really fun and motivating when you do it with other people. Yoga, working out, classes, like all that kind of stuff, figuring out what type of movement works for you because our bodies need to move. We need to exercise and it's just so good for your entire body as well as your mental health. And then step 5, pay attention and adjust as needed. So pay attention to your body. If something's wrong or if something's right. What's normal, what's not normal for you, and listen to your body and yeah, go from there. And then just really quick, I wanted to just share how to get started. A lot of the things that we've talked about with Young Living specifically is really easy to get started in. We have a couple starter kits that can help you ditch and switch those toxins. We have a Thieves starter kit, which is the cleaning line. So literally $125 and you've switched out pretty much all of your toxic products, and it's going to last you a long time. Then we have the Ningxia Red kit, which is that amazing antioxidant drink Hannah's obsessed with. We all are, honestly. It's so good. So there's a kit for that, $125 again, and you get a whole lot of this stuff that'll last you a long time. And then there's also a build your own kit option. So if you wanted to pick and choose a couple things from each of these, like you really want the probiotic and the Thieves cleaner and some of the digize because you get stomach issues, like if you want to mix and match and do your own thing with that, we have a build your own kit option where you can set your price, you can and do that. And yeah, so definitely talk to the person that invited you on this class. And if you already are a member, or if you're not a member, you can join this deal, that monthly rewards program that I was talking about. There's literally no fee. There's nothing like weird about it. It's literally just a rewards program for buying stuff. You get points back, you get free gifts for certain amounts that you buy, you get cheaper shipping. Like, it's only good stuff. So highly recommend that because I love it. I've been in it since I started and it's awesome. So again, reach out to the person that invited you to this class, but we're going to open it up for questions. If you have any questions, unmute yourself and let us hear it. Or you can type it in the chat too.
I put the steps for anybody that wanted them. I put them in the chat so that you can see them. We really wanted to be understandable about the fact that like we just gave you a lot of information, and I hope that you feel a little bit of science class and a little bit of just like little one-on-one conversation over coffee, like kind of combine those two feelings so that you know what the heck we're referring to when we say the gut. We're not just using some buzzword, but at the same time we want to make sure that people walk away from this going, wow, like I know where to start. I at least know a couple of things that I can do. And then of course we have incredible products through Young Living that all of us are using every single day that have made a huge impact on our gut health and therefore on our immune system's health. So I know that was one I think Susan had mentioned, like she really wants to better support her immune system. So anyway, we want the steps to be the simplified version of what we talked about so that you can walk away going, oh, okay. And they don't have to necessarily be in that order. You know, you don't have to worry about your supplements before you worry about your chemical products. Like, you know, they're just simple ways to digest what we talked about tonight. And then hopefully you can walk away and you can apply a few things to them. Yeah, it's our Q&A time, so hit us up. Don't make me stare you down.
So just kind of something that we were talking about before this class, my issue that I'm struggling with, I recently got eczema, and a lot of it's from the chemicals I'm using at work. But we were talking a little bit about that, and I'm still like learning about it. I know it's very linked to the immune system, but if anybody else like wants to talk about eczema, I know it's crazy how many people have this. And when I've told coworkers like, this is not like a disgusting rash that's gonna be contagious, it's eczema, they're like, oh yeah, I have it too. And I'm like, what? Everybody has it, but nobody like knows what it is. And it's frustrating. So
yeah, I said in the comments towards the beginning, my biggest indicator of how my gut is doing is my skin. And one thing that because I've done Whole30, I'm currently on day 9 of no gluten, like for realsies, not 30 days, but like doing the dang thing because I'm just kind of tired of things feeling off. But another thing with the skin stuff that I've noticed, I started probably almost 6 months ago now taking Young Living Super B. which has been really good because one of the skin things that I experience is dandruff from gluten and sugar are the two things that I've really noticed but that's a gut health thing as well. So B vitamin, if you don't know, is really good for your gut as well. So that might be something a lot of people are deficient in it because it's only really like in gross stuff that I don't want to eat. So I'm going to take a supplement. But it's really good for your gut and energy, that brain fog, kind of all those things gut wise you were talking about. It's really good for. So that's another thing maybe you look into.
There's an oil for that, Josh. Let's see. I saw something a minute ago. I think Angela had said I could really tell how much better I felt doing Whole30. I tried to eliminate all those things for almost a year. That's awesome. Good job, Angela. I know that that's kind of the hard part. I did the autoimmune solution. Actually, fun fact, I've only done it once, Lindsay. But I did that a few years ago, but I truly just looked at it going, I'm not going to like just immediately go back to everything on day 31. Like I wanted to reintroduce a few things because what these elimination, I hate using the word diets, but I mean, our diet is what we eat, so whatever. But these elimination diets basically take it back down to things that like almost no one is sensitive to, or just very gentle foods. You might still be sensitive to some of those, but very gentle foods. For 30 days to give your system a little bit of a reset and a break. And then you slowly, like for 1 to 3 days, you introduce one thing, like tomatoes. Then days 4 through 6, you introduce green peppers. Like you really just take it very slow. And the first thing I reintroduced was dairy. I'm not very sensitive to dairy, praise Jesus, but there are some dairy products that I am sensitive to, so I have to be careful with that. But I just slowly reintroduced. And I think I'm on like year 3 of doing this at this point. But once you kind of get into that mindset of like, I hate migraines way more than I like pizza. Like, so for me, I just kind of had to get to a place of misery, I guess. Like some people just kind of can do it, like that's fine. But I genuinely was just so sick of being sick that I chose like, what can I do to be healthy? And that's just going to always win. So
there is actually a term out there. It's called FLC, which is feel like crap. And and honestly, some of the people I listen to, that is what they say all the time, you know, FLC, because it's feel like crap. We actually get to the point where that's so normal that we don't realize how bad we feel. So what Sophie's talking about is the book, The Autoimmune Solution by Dr. Amy Myers, that spells out how to do it. Whole30 as another way, because it's pulling back to some things that are, as Lindsay was saying about Whole30 earlier, whole foods, non-processed, no dyes, no chemicals, those kinds of things. But there's another way, which is one of the ways I did, and that was to actually get testing done. It is an option. It's not cheap, and it is available. And then you absolutely know. But that can actually change over time. Stress comes in and other things. So like I had leaky gut, we fixed my leaky gut. Now I have leaky gut again, not exactly sure why. And I have a few other issues that are going on. So I'm back. But I was telling some of them earlier that within 2 weeks that I found that out and started adjusting again for it, I started cleaning again. I started sorting through things. I actually have energy and desire to do things, because that is part of my issue whenever I have with my autoimmune and with my leaky gut is I get real lethargic, I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to get anything done. So that can be its own.
Well, and I love earlier it was said, I think mom said it, like just because it's common doesn't mean like that's the way it should be, you know? I think even some of the things like, yeah, everybody gets gas when they eat beans, right? Well, fun fact, actually not everybody does. There are a lot of like people in this world who can eat beans and be perfectly fine. If that's you, like that's your body communicating something. So that's what's really cool. When you start realizing what the like basically gas, bloating, irritability, like lack of motivation, those are like little text messages that your body's sending you. And it's like, open the notification, like read the text that you understand, hey, like your body's saying, please stop. Like, that's not what I want. As opposed to, oh yeah, like everybody experiences that. It's like, but I want better. Like just because it's common doesn't mean it's right. So just love that little phrase. But does anybody have any questions? Can they determine leaky gut through a blood test?
Yes. Yes. There's indicators. That's what came through with some of my testing recently, is there's indicators of what's called SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth, and a few other things that when they see those things, they know you probably have leaky gut. So yes, the answer would be yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Chelsea says, okay, cool, thanks. Are there any other questions or thoughts? Anybody like want to drop in what they think they might be sensitive to? Anybody feeling brave enough to put that in there? Hannah has openly said that she is 9 days gluten-free, and she feels so much better as a result. If you guys think my little spiel tonight was a lot on the gluten part, just imagine being one of my best friends and hearing it a lot. Like Lindsay and Hannah have heard it a lot. And so
It's been preaching to me for a while.
Lindsay's almost there.
And
so
she heard it from me, so she heard it a lot too. And I've had to be gluten-free for about 4 years now. It's a little over 4 years now. Mm-hmm. Plus I found out recently.
And I do promise you guys, you get used to it. Lindsay talked about Young Living's a one-stop shop, right? Like you get used to the fact that like, no, I don't go to the store to get my cleaning products. I just go to Young Living. Like it's easy, and you just kind of automatically get into that. And for me, it's no, I'm not going to go to the pantry to get my pasta. I'm going to grab zucchini and make zucchini noodles. Like it just becomes automatic. It's not really something I have to think about. It takes a few months to get there, but it's worth it. But anybody want to have, okay, so Chelsea said I have to drink lactose-free milk and my belly hurts after I eat cookies. So probably allergic to something there.
Sugar and flour.
Yeah.
And dairy, possibly dairy too, because there's dairy in cookies. So yeah, there's a lot there.
Well, figure out what it is. Start paying attention. Even tomorrow, something's going to happen. You're going to go, oh, crap. Like, now I know that is a sign of something. And I hope that maybe that starts a little just journey. We just want you to take many steps. We don't want you leaping and bounding down a path that you end up regretting. Just little baby steps that, you can take a little bit at a time. So maybe if you're not ready to give up gluten, that's okay. But maybe just get your 10,000 steps in tomorrow. Just do little things here and there.
Sophie mentioned earlier when she was reintroducing foods that she would reintroduce them like over a course of like 3 days. And for those of us who've had children, you remember adding foods to your baby's diet and you waited like 3 days. And the reason for that is you wait for that reaction. It literally can take up to 72 hours for your body to react to something. Now, the difference in reacting quickly, like with gas, bloating, just very, like a stomach upset, that's an intolerance. That means that it's pretty high. That means you really definitely need to eliminate it. If it takes 3 days for something to show up, which could be acne, it could be stomach issues, it could be all kinds of things, then that means that you're sensitive to it and it still needs to be eliminated for a while. The beauty of it is hopefully you'll get them all back. I mean, that is the hope, is that you would get all of this back once you have gotten your system under control.
Yeah, I actually, I said earlier that with what we've done to our bodies with gluten and what the American diet has done to our bodies with gluten, that our bodies can't handle even good gluten anymore. And I'm going to kind of contradict myself for like a little bit here, but I actually went to Africa a couple of years ago, and this is about a year into being gluten-free. And I had some bread. I didn't want to insult the family. I had been able to kind of avoid it the whole time, but I didn't want to be rude. And so I ate it and had no problem. And in almost every African country, the developed ones, underdeveloped ones, no matter what, there's really not chemicals being sprayed onto the crops. And there's not genetically modified crops. So it's actually kind of interesting, like when you do get rid of something and you reintroduce like a healthy version of it, there's potential that you can actually handle it again at some point. So some people, like I know,
I was going to say, we've got Acorn wheat with berries with Young Living. So people that don't literally have a real problem with wheat could possibly use the Acorn if they don't have like celiacs or a very high intolerance to gluten.
I would still recommend a really long detox process with gluten. But anyways, does anybody else have anything to add or any questions?
The standard American diet, sad.
Yeah. It's not good.
Oh, it's sad.
Zero experts like it. But okay, well, that is the end of our class. Guys, thank you so much for coming. Lindsay, I am so proud of you. I know that this was one that you were really excited to teach, but guys, you just killed it tonight. I loved every second of everything that you said. But thank you guys so much for coming tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are watching the recording, please reach out to the person who sent it to you. Let them know if you have any questions. If you were here tonight and you have any questions that you weren't maybe comfortable enough to ask, or things you don't really want to share, reach out to the person that invited you. They will absolutely help you with any questions that you may have, give you, tips and tricks, that kind of thing. But I hope you guys get rid of gluten. I'm just kidding. But I hope you guys have a great night, and just let us know if we can help with anything. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.